This week on JW Fusion,
we're going to talk about the High Achievers Playbook.
Crushing fear, destroying those things that hinder your life.
You can do it.
This week on JW Fusion. Stay tuned. This week on JW Fusion, we have an amazing show. We have an awesome guest.
We are going to talk about the High Achievers Playbook. We got us a high achiever in the house.
The High Achievers Playbook, how to destroy your fear, crush your fear, and embrace your power. Take your power back.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm excited.
This man, when I met him initially, we clicked. And you know how I am about clicking with people.
We don't click well.
He is not fake. He's not phony. He's passionate. He's genuine. And his beautiful wife is here, who I
Miss
just...
Jill is in the house.
Yeah, she's just sweet. And she bought us some Fannie Mae that we're not supposed to eat, but we going to eat.
That's all right. I'm going to work it off tomorrow.
Work it out.
It's fine.
Well, welcome, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, we're delighted to be here.
So listen, we're going to get right into it. We're going to unpack it because we got a lot to talk about. We want you to share the birth, the genesis of the Hour of Champions.
Sure. Well, I have a tendency to get long-winded, so I'm going to make sure that I stay
that's okay.
short-winded
You're the
here.
star this week, so
thank you.
Do your thing.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, and I'm passionate about telling the story. I get emotional, as a matter of fact. In 2009, I had discovered that I had given my power away, and you guys had just mentioned about power. You mentioned in the onset about power, and it kind of, my heart was palpitating here because I gave my power away. And what I mean by that is I was running a company, or co-running a company, a beautiful company that my brother and I had turned around, and it became victim to the credit crisis in 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. And we weren't just financially attached, we were emotionally attached.
Okay.
We had a lot of friends and family invested, and they became casualties of that, that horrific meltdown. And myself in particular, I took that very, very personally.
You feel guilty, right? Because you have all these people who are depending on you.
Absolutely.
Well, not only that, your business, from what I've gathered about Steve has a genuine heart. You cannot build a successful business without a heart-mind coherence. Mm-hmm. In other words, your mind, which is where your logic takes place, your ideas, but it's the heart that drives it. Mm-hmm. And when your heart is in it, there's a different level of power that comes. But there also comes greater pain.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
Undeniably, yeah, that's a great point, especially, when you care about people, and I do care about people, and my friends had trusted me, to as investors in our business, and we paid them a great rate of return for a long time. And the irony is, we had over 100 investors that became casualties of this, of the market collapse, and most of them called me to make sure Jill and I and our kids were okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And they knew that there was forces outside of our control that had overtaken our company, but I took it very, very hard. I admittedly got, down, sad. I was led to believe that I had, pretty substantial depression, certainly anxiety, and I got medicated like a lot of people do.
Wow.
And I lived my life the next 5-6 years medicated.
Wow.
And I didn't think anything about it. I mean, I never missed a day of work. I never missed a basketball game. Or going to see our daughter as a cheerleader. I was functional, going to visit her in college, being a husband, a son, all that great stuff. And then fast forward 2015, I intersect with a young doctor who at that time was in his mid-30s, and I had known him since he was 12 years old. He was a dear friend's son. And we, as luck would have it, or as the universe would plan it, as I later learned, we connected on a street in downtown Chicago, and we decided to meet up for breakfast the next week. And when we did, just in casual conversation, and we were discussing the time that we get up. This was 6 in the morning. He looked at me and he said to me, "What are you on?" I said, "What do you mean? What am I on? It's 6 and don't insult me.
Wow.
It's 6 in the morning. I'm downtown here. I live in Northbrook, 30 miles north.
Yeah.
I'm having breakfast with you. What do you mean, what am I on?"
You got defensive.
I got defensive. And
Yeah.
he's a very tough kid. He, besides being a doctor, he's an MBA. He's a triathlete. He's a coach.
Okay.
And he's exactly what I needed.
He's very
Yeah,
direct. He's
yeah.
direct.
So I said to him, "What do you mean?" And he said, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me what you're on." And I said, "Well, you know what happened with this business circumstance that I had. I got on some meds, and I've been living on these meds." And he asked me what I was on, and I rattled off 4 medications, and he looked at me and said, "You're going to die." And who do you trust more than your doctor?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So I have one doctor telling me I need to be on him, one doctor telling me I need to be off him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, "I can't imagine that you want to live on these medications for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get you off all of them. Are you in or are you out?" And
I
look at
love
my
the
watch.
directness.
I go, "Wow, it's 6:05. We haven't even
I was
got.
about to have you even ordered.
We haven't even ordered yet, and I got to push in all my chips or I'm going to die."
Oh my gosh.
This is a bad movie.
Wow.
This is
Not the type of meeting you're expecting.
no. This was just going to be a reconnect kind of love fest, and
Yeah.
and I just said, "Oh, okay." And he said to me, "Are you willing to push all your chips in? There's like no going half in."
Wow.
I said, "Well, what am I going to do?" He said, "I'm going to be with you every step of the way. It's going to be the worst year of your life. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
You're addicted to these medications."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I
Oh my
looked at him, I
gosh.
said, "No, I can't be because, you see, I take them exactly the way it says on the pill jar, 1 in the morning and
Yeah.
1 at night.
I'm good.
I don't abuse these." And he said, "You don't have to. You're addicted."
Wow.
And it's going to be a rough ride.
So you can't just take them off and think you're going to be okay.
So he
No.
was able to tell that just by being in your presence.
Yeah,
You could
no,
tell.
it gets better actually. So he said to me, "I want
is
you
a
to
heck
go
of a
home."
breakfast.
Yeah, he said to me, "I want you to go home and I want you to give Jill all the pills." He had known Jill since he's 12 years old. "Give me her phone number. I'm going to text her and tell her how to, dispense them to you, because if we don't get this right, you can have a seizure, you can have a heart
Wow.
attack."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like,
Wow.
"Whoa, this is a
Whoa.
bad breakfast."
Now,
Yeah.
at the onset of being prescribed this, were you told of these side effects?
I was not.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, which leads me to the end of the Our Champions statement, and you're pretty intuitive there. So I said, "I'm willing to go all in." He said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to, like I said, you're going to go home. You're going to give Jill all the meds. And by the way, find a different room to sleep in because you're not going to be sleeping for a while."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, "Oh my God, what does that mean?" So I found out the second night. She gave me my Klonopin, which is like an antipsychotic, or it's used typically for seizures and panic attacks. But I was taking it in combination with these antidepressants, and I look, and it's like, she gave me a piece, looked like a piece of salt. I go, "Where's the rest of this?"
That's it.
She said, "Well, this is what Ari told me to give you." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I take a milligram. This is a piece of salt."
Yeah.
"Sorry, hon, it's all you get tonight." So I took it and I went to bed, and I woke up at about 2 in the morning, and I was melting down.
Oh my gosh.
This is night 2. This was February 5th, so it was just the 5-year anniversary last week. 2 in the morning, I'm melting down, I'm crying, I'm shivering, and I text Ari, the doctor, and I said, "I need more Klonopin." And he texts me back. You know how you can see the bubble coming?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Here comes the bubble.
Like he's going to tell me to get more.
It says,
No.
"Screw you." And
Wow.
it wasn't that nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm so sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
okay.
I texted him back, "No, you don't understand. I'm melting down.
Yeah.
I need
Oh,
more."
man.
And he texts me back, "Screw you."
Oh, wow.
And I go, "What am I going to do?" Here comes the bubble again. "I want you to get a hoodie on, get some gym shoes on, get in the street, and run 20 wind sprints right now."
At what time was it?
2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
What time of the year was it?
February 5th.
Oh man.
2015.
Oh my gosh. And
So I texted him, "Ari, it's February 5th. It's 4 below zero out." He texts me back, "I know the date. I know the time.
I'm here with you. Go.
I'm up with you. I got a wife and 2 kids. Get in the street right now." Wow. I go upstairs. I get my hoodie on, my gym shoes. I go out my front door, and I didn't sprint. I fell forward for 30 yards, turn around, fell forward. I did
Because
it.
you feel horrible.
I came back. I called him. I go, "Okay, I did it." He goes, "How do you feel?" I go, "I feel better."
Oh, wow.
He goes, okay, get in the shower, get cleaned up, go downstairs, make yourself some breakfast. Let's go, get your day started. And I go, but it's 2:47 in the morning.
It's still.
He goes, I know the date, I know the time, I'm with you, let's go. And I have said this many, many times. That was the first night of 10 months of hell.
Wow.
And I never knew when it was coming, felt good, got bad waves, good waves. But yeah, it took 10 months to, and when I started getting better, I just started getting myself up in the middle of the night, going to Lifetime Fitness. Before I would leave the house, I would get on YouTube and I would search for something on mindset. And I wasn't, and Ari kept saying to me, if you're going to conquer this, you're going to have to get spiritual. And I'm like, where is this spirituality stuff? Like, I'm looking under my bed, in my trunk.
And you're physically feeling horrible.
Right, physically, I go, I don't know how to find spirituality.
Yeah.
What do I do? He said, find it. You find it. So
he's helping you, but he's making you work also.
he's making me work. And Jill and my kids were making me work also. They were. And the most painful part for me was watching them watch me go through it. That was very painful, but I knew I couldn't stop. So
this required a lot of patience on Jill's part, because I'm sure you are just not the easiest person to live with during this time.
At that time, for sure.
Yeah.
So it was all starting to come together, and except for the spiritual part. And it was suggested to me to go to the town of Highland Park, which is the next town north of us. And there was a spiritual meeting, kind of a recovery meeting. On Wednesday mornings at 5:30 in the morning. And I'm like, are you guys serious?
Right.
Yeah, I'm into the exercise. I'm into the mindset. Now I got to get this spirituality stuff.
At 5:30 in the morning.
So at 5:30 in the morning. So I drive to Highland Park, and I park my car on, I'll never forget, on Central and St. John's, and I'm looking around for an address, and it's snowing. And my shoulders are like filling up with snow. It's like almost being in the movie It's a Wonderful Night. Of that scene. And I can't find the address. And I'm getting frustrated. And finally I find this little address, and there's this little narrow hallway, and I walk up these flight of stairs, and I walk in, and there's like 40 people from all walks of life.
Wow.
Like men in suit and ties, and women that were teachers, and even a few homeless people.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting around in a circle. And the moderator looks at me and says, how you doing? I said, not great. I'm here to find some spirituality. And he said, well, maybe we can help you. He said, what we do is everybody gets this book, and we go around the room, and we read an excerpt out of the book, and then we're going to ask you to comment. Are you cool with that? I said, yeah, let's go. Come on, get it started, right? And they go around the room, and everybody's reading, and now it lands on Steve. And they go, okay, Steve. So I look, and I said, before I do this, can I ask you all a question? And the guy said, sure, go ahead. I said, how do I know all you people aren't like full of crap? And they were like, whoa.
He just came in just.
Yeah. And I go, you got God, you got the universe, you got your higher power. Have you guys ever seen the movie The Sting? How do I know that when I leave here today, this whole thing doesn't just fold down and you go, we got that guy.
Yeah.
He thinks there's really spirituality. So there was an older gentleman on the couch next to me. I happened to sit on the only couch in the room. Everybody else was in a chair. And he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, son, why don't you just give what we do a try? And if it doesn't work, we'll refund your misery.
I love it.
And I said, touche.
Yeah. What do you say to that?
I go, who knew to put that guy there?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Yeah.
And I read my part and I commented. And when I left, I'm like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And it's like the switch went on, the spiritual switch. So I started getting up super early in the morning, and I would get on YouTube and I would look for something spiritual. And I stumbled upon the likes of Marianne Williamson, Wayne Dyer, all these spiritual people. And I would program something in my phone along with some mindset work, drive to Lifetime Fitness, like we spoke of, and I would work out at 3:30 in the morning and listen. So I had it all going on. I wouldn't sit in the corner. I would actually listen while I was working out. And one day I was leaving, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, and a guy stopped me at the door, and he said, I got to ask you a question. I said, yeah. He said, you're leaving, like at 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. I'm getting here. What time do you get here?
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty transparent guy. I'm telling him my story. And he said, wow, you do all that in an hour? It's like you're training for a championship fight. So I walk out in the parking lot. I get in my car. I flipped over a business card, and I wrote down Hour of Champions.
Wow.
I said, I'm going to need this someday, and I'm going to use this. And after 10 months, I woke up one day, and thank you for being such great listeners. I love when people are great listeners. And I was sitting having coffee. It was like late October, early November, and Jill was in the kitchen, and I had like tears coming down my face. And she looked at me. She said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I feel good. I don't even know what it's like to feel good."
It had been so long.
I had succumbed to the fact that I was going to feel bad every day for the rest of my life with headaches, nausea, dizziness. I mean, 6 months into this, I would text Ari. I'd be in my office at noon. I'd have a meeting at 1, and I'd be like, "Dude, I am melting down." And he would text me back, 200 push-ups right now.
Oh, you're like this man.
Wow.
Or 100 burpees. Or, I go, "Ari, it's 3 p.m. I got a business. I got a call at 3:30. I don't know what to do." And the one word would come across: pray. Just turn off the lights in your office, get in the corner, and pray.
So he was teaching you balance, spirit, soul, body.
Well, ultimately, yes. So ultimately, when I had the courage, and that's what the whole premise of the Hour of Champions is to reclaim your courage, because we disconnect from our courage, and we become the victim of our own story, and that's what happened to me. So when I had the courage to finally ask Ari a year later, "What did you see that morning?"
Yeah.
Tell me, when you looked in my eyes, what did you see? And I can remember perfectly, a paraphrase, he said, "Polypharmacy," which in that context means overuse of medication or multiple medications in a patient with fear and insecurity that did not have coping mechanisms. And I said, no, you got it wrong, man. Like, I had depression. I had major depression. He said, "No, you didn't. You had fear, but your doctor didn't know how to treat fear, so he treated depression. Wow. He medicated your sadness." He said, "What I did is I tore you down and then built you up. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. So when the fear comes, boom, we crush it. You now have 3 options. Anytime an event arises in your day, your life, instead of taking a pill to mask the pain, you have 3 options: a physical option, a spiritual option, or a mindset option to conquer that."
So let me ask this question, because I'm listening to you, and I'm big on spirituality. I believe in scriptures, Old Testament, New Testament. I believe in a lot of different types of teaching, because they're all closely related if you really look at them close. And what I hear you saying is that what your doctor friend did was he taught you to love you in a genuine and powerful way. And there is a scripture that says that perfect love casts out fear. Love for yourself, for someone else. Love is what drives fear out. That's like a mother whose child is in danger. There's a strength that comes to her. She loses the fear, and because of her love overwhelms the fear. And that's what it sounds like happened. He taught you how to love yourself physically, spiritually, and mentally. He showed you the avenues for it, and you implemented it.
Yes.
So it's safe to say that now you have become the balm or healing substance for everybody that comes in contact with you that has been medicated, who's had their fear medicated, as opposed to addressing the fear, facing the fear, crushing the fear. Medication has anesthetized those sensors in their bodies, because there's a reason we have fear. There's a healthy fear. If there's a saber-toothed tiger, if there's a grizzly bear, you got to take off, run, fight or flight. That's a healthy fear.
Yes.
But then there's a destructive fear that so many people are bound by. And when I first saw you speaking on Our Champion, you were doing a video, and you were a person who didn't pick up on it. They would say, "Wow, he's really pissed off."
I've heard that.
But you weren't pissed off. It was your love and your fervor and your caring for the people who you know are going through what you went through. And when you're talking about, you feel the pain you suffer. You feel the pain that Jill and your family went through. Yes. And all of this is in your mind when you're hitting this thing, which means when you hit it, it's like you're hitting it with a concrete glove on, pretty much. Is that an accurate assessment?
That is. And yeah, you picked up on I get comments from folks that see me on my Facebook Lives, and they ask me if I'm angry. And it's first of all, it's out of love that I get this rage because, having gone through it, I understand that there's true mental illness, and then there are events in life.
Sure.
And what happened to me is losing a business is not a mental illness.
Right.
As a matter of fact, losing a loved one is not a mental illness. Having a breakup in a relationship is not a mental illness.
Correct.
Bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, those are true mental illness. Those require medication. And I'm never here to say you shouldn't be on medication or don't take it or to get off it. I would never tell anybody that, especially without the help of a medical professional. But to your question, the three questions I wish I would have known to ask when I was given these prescriptions were, number one, how long will I be on them?
Yeah.
Number two, what are the side effects?
Yeah.
And number three, can I get addicted? Because I didn't know to ask any of them.
Wow.
And if I would have, any one of them might have stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Typically, and it's sad to medicate sadness. People have been sad forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what I discovered through spirituality, I'm not a very religious person. We're ritualistic in our home. We're very proud to be Jewish, and we celebrate Jewish traditions. And my wife lights candles every Friday night. We're ritualistic. And I was confused between religion and spirituality. And what I came to learn was religious people are trying to stay out of hell, and spiritual people have already been there.
Yeah, that's good. That's
wow,
a good.
that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So
That's good.
I run into a lot of people.
like
They
that.
go, "I'll never be spiritual." I go, "Congratulations, you
Yeah.
already are. You didn't even
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
By the circumstance in your life." So when I see people and they tell me, I could never do what you do, Steve. Well, that's baloney. I'd rather have them say, I choose not to do what you do, because anybody can do what I do.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the story.
Yeah.
that
And
we
the
tell
sad
ourselves.
thing is you're in the company of so many people who will say, yeah, that's right. Get up at 4:30. I couldn't. Oh, man, me either.
4:30.
You got so many
That's
people who be like,
crazy.
oh, my gosh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
4:30.
Yeah.
What time you go to bed?
Yeah.
That's the next question, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well,
Yeah.
typically 8:30 or 9, but that's not so heroic to run on 8.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sad that you
Yeah.
have more people who are in one accord as far as what they won't do, what
Yeah.
they can't do, than people who be like, see, I'm going to look at you and be like, okay, so what do you do to get there?
Right.
Because I see something like, wait a minute, he's happy, he's energetic, he's getting things done, he's going to play golf at night at 3:30.
Right.
Well, what can I do to have that? And I want to get the tips and tools from you. But most people look like, ooh, I ain't get up.
And that's why I like the attraction method and not the seduction method.
Mm.
And why I put my message, why I created the Facebook group.
What's the name of the Facebook group?
Hour of Champions.
Okay.
Just Hour of Champions.
Okay.
And the way that started was, I said to myself, if I'm going through this, there are millions of
Yeah.
people going through this,
At
not
least.
thousands, millions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've got to get my message out. So I called one of my close friends that I went to. I went to school in Arizona. I went to Arizona State, and I had not seen a very close friend of mine for 32 years.
Wow.
And through Facebook, we reconnected.
Okay.
And he lives in Charlotte, and this is 3 years coming up in April. He said to me, get on a plane, get down here. I grabbed my golf clubs. I said to Jill, I'm going to go visit Mark. Haven't seen him in 32 years. And we got caught up on 32 years.
Okay.
And we had this beautiful bond. And in the summer of 2018, I called him up. I said, buddy, I'm about to start a Facebook group, and I'm going to call it the Hour of Champions based on my personal journey. Do you think that's like egomaniacal? And he goes, no, I think like God is telling you, you need to do this, man. You are the guy.
Yeah.
And I know your story, and any way I can help, I'm here for you. I said, will you be my first member?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. I said, how do I start a Facebook group?
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know. Google it. So
Yeah.
Google anything. Right? So I Google it. It says, push this button, and it says, I'm looking, I don't have a banner. How do I make a banner? I go, I don't even
Google
know.
it.
So I went to a T-shirt store, and I printed a T-shirt that said Hour of Champions. I came home, I took a picture of it, I uploaded it in my computer, posted it in the banner, and
He did it.
I'm off and running. I have the group, the Hour of Champions, and I have my member.
Yeah.
And then
You got your start.
I got my start, and then I started just telling people at the gym, and my friend Mark started telling a few friends, and they joined, and then people started inviting people. And it was actually like pushing a snowball uphill, a big snowball uphill to get, I had to put myself out there and tell my story. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this Facebook Live thing.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, people are messaging me going, I did a video, like a really intense video about the journey that I just told you about. And it got like 3,000 views very quickly.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, this works too. I don't even know. I'm not like a tech guy,
You don't need to be. You're telling your story.
I'm telling my story, and people are like, Steve, this is so heroic, keep going.
Yeah.
And there's so much to the story, but one of the key pieces was I read an article written by a woman whose husband was recklessly put on antidepressants. He had insomnia. He was part of a startup. This was a young couple 14 years ago in Chicago. The woman was an advertising exec. The husband was a business development guy for a startup. And he says to his wife, I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm having like insomnia. She goes, well, call your internist friend, blah, blah, blah. And he comes home with like some samples of Zoloft. And through an internist, right? Well, make a long story short, 2 weeks later, she was out of town. She makes a call home to her father. Her husband's not answering the phone, and they found him dead in the garage. He had hung himself.
Oh, wow.
And she became my friend. And Jill said to me, how did you meet her? I go, I read her article. I found her on LinkedIn. I had to connect.
Yeah.
There was something there. Like this story is, and she connected me to this whole world of people called Spartan warriors, Spartan racers.
I've heard of that.
And there's some of my dear friends right now. I've never met them.
Yeah.
I only talk to them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And as my group has grown now to over 3,000 people, I still have I don't like to say dark times. I like to say dim.
Yeah.
When things don't go perfect, or I second guess myself, or mortality.
You're human.
I'm human.
But you know what? That's a part of growth.
It is.
Growth has to do with, working out. You'll hit a plateau if you're doing strength training, if you're doing endurance training.
Yes.
You're going to hit a point, and then it's like you hit a valley. But that's a part of our humanity. The hill, the peaks, the valleys. And what it does is it helps us to not only appreciate the peaks, but it also strengthens us, because when you hit that valley, you got to get momentum again to go. And when you do, you don't come back where you were. You always come back here.
Yep.
When you come, you don't stay down there as long.
You don't stay down there.
Yeah,
because you got a momentum going, and everybody's gonna have that moment that, no matter how good things are. When I'm writing, I'm a fiction writer primarily. I not write nonfiction, but I prefer fiction. I like writing fiction, and sometimes you can have a session where it's just the words are just alive. The story is alive. It's like the people in the story come out and help you type it. That's how real it is. And then you have those days where Jill, it's like, man, you're stuck. You're stuck. Yeah. But then you back up and you start again. And then boom, you push past that blockage. Like with a snowblower. You hit that, you got to back up and hit that thing again. And we all go through that. Yeah. So what you're doing, man, is phenomenal, because the world we live in, like I said, I believe we have come to an era where people are pulling together and sharing more, because I know for a fact years ago that people would withdraw and be within their own selves.
So we're going to have to put a pause in that.
Listen, we're going to pick this up on part 2 of the Hour of Champions.
And Mr. Steve Warner.
Mr. Steve Warner with his awesome.
Jill.
And Jill sitting over there looking cute.
I know.
You're listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
Welcome to part 2 of the Hour of Champions with our special guest, Mr. Steve Warner, with his awesome self.
And his awesome wife is she's over there.
She's over there.
Just being a supportive person.
And by the way, you guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We were talking a little bit about prescriptions, and I think doctors are great. Doctors are great, but they said that they're practicing, right? And each one of us are different. And we were talking about my migraines, and I wanted to know. And I think because I've had special needs children, I've had to learn to ask questions, which drives doctors crazy. Yeah. But I don't care. I'm in charge of these kids. So I asked the doctor, how long would I need to be on these medications? And he was like, I don't know. It depends on how the migraines go. And as you get older, it constricts the veins, heart attack, stroke. And I'm like, what? So I'm taking this meds. I'm like, I got to find a way to get off this stuff. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to be looking for a way. There has to be a holistic way. Yeah. And thankfully, I found someone who told me holistically through my diet and exercise how to do it. And I would tell my run group, listen, sometimes I get depressed and I come here, you guys are my life force.
I'd say so.
So if you see I'm missing for too long, call me on it.
Yeah.
I need you to do that for me. So a lot of times we're stuck in a circle of people who are like us. What do you say? You're like the 5 closest people to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
All my friends was depressed. Or they were understanding like, oh, she has special needs kids. Oh, we understand. You should be depressed. I don't want to be like that. I want to triumph over that, and I need people to help me. So I'm like, don't feel sorry for me. Yeah. Don't pat me, don't do the rub the back thing. That drives me crazy. Help me get past it. And so thankfully I was able to get past that. But yeah, he's telling, heart attack, stroke. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
I'll take the migraine,
Right, exactly. Stroke, migraine, I'll take migraine.
Migraine is fine, yeah, but you have to learn to ask questions, and it's not being disrespectful, it's not even challenging, it's just getting all of the information. And I just want to make sure people understood that.
Very important.
I think it's good to have the freedom with people who are close to you, that you can feel comfortable sharing where you are with somebody.
And not embarrassed.
And not be embarrassed. Yeah. And get sound counsel. There's a saying that there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel. Yeah. But that should be in the multitude of good counsel.
Good counsel.
Because all advice isn't good advice.
Yeah.
And so what I want to talk about now is the group. What have you seen as
How long have you had the group? How long has it been going?
It'll be 2 years in June.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 years. So what have you seen as far as a shift in the people that came in early on, where they were at the inception of their journey with you, and where they are, where you see them now? Because from what I've gathered, it's because I'm in Hour of Champions as well. I joined the membership.
I'll be joining today. Babe, you didn't tell me to join Hour of Power.
Well, babe, you got so much going on.
No. See, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying, Steve? He just proved my point.
That's cute.
He just proved my point.
Oh, baby.
I'll talk to you
okay.
later.
It's okay.
It will be, because I'm going on, and I'm going to be part of the group.
Okay.
And everyone out there, join Hour of Power on Facebook.
Hour of Power.
Hour of Champions.
Hour Our champions, our power,
champions, yeah.
our champions.
Is it an hour thing weekly or?
It's daily. It's a Facebook group that
Okay.
runs all day long.
Okay.
And back to the point about my frustration, I have a saying that inspiration minus transformation equals 0. I'm a math guy. I'm a former trader.
Okay.
So I kind of put a lot of things into an equation. Somebody said to me the other day, I was actually meeting with a young man, and he said, your group is so fascinating, and people posting all day long, all this inspiring stuff. Isn't it great? And I looked at him, I go, it sucks. And he goes to me, what? Why do you say that? Everybody's posting all this inspiring stuff. And I said, I don't want people to only post inspiring stuff. I want them to post their struggles. I want other people that they don't know from the other side of the world who are now on here. We have people from New Zealand, Australia, Israel, China. I don't know how they wound up here, but they're here.
Yeah.
And the people that are just posting these memes of, beautiful sayings, they're struggling. That's just a way of kind of trying to tiptoe in by posting something positive.
Yeah.
It's wonderful,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it, but it's not solving a problem.
Yeah.
And I have this mantra that I work by and I develop, and I call it from victim to hero.
Okay.
And I think I'm a former trader, so I look at things like a market, right? A market has a high and it has a low.
Yeah.
So does life.
Yeah.
We have highs and we have lows.
Right.
And our low is called our victim, our high is our hero.
Okay.
And you spoke of love. To me, what Ari did for me was he helped me to find the hero in my story.
Okay.
Because I was playing the victim. And I always say you can't change the past, but you can change the way you tell the story of the past.
Okay.
And for several years, I was walking around with my hand out going, hi, I'm Steve Warner. I'm the guy that lost my beautiful multi-million-dollar business. You should feel real sorry for me.
Okay.
Figuratively. I wasn't actually saying it, but that's what I was portraying.
Yeah.
I was the victim. And I
That was the
wanted
vibe you
everybody-
had? Would you say that was the energy you gave?
It was.
Yeah, okay.
It was the lack of energy that
Okay.
I gave. It was the nausea that I
Okay.
was spreading, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I wound up changing the story to, hi, I'm Steve Warner that survived that downturn,
Yeah.
that survived that 2015 through the grace of God and my friend Ari and my family and the hard work. And I'm Steve Warner that bounced back and is going to change the world because
Okay,
of my experience.
okay.
The story never changed.
Yeah.
The
can't change
way
it.
I told it
Yeah.
changed, right?
Yeah.
And I went from being the victim to being the hero of the same story.
Okay.
And I always say that life, just like a market, is not linear. It doesn't just go like this. It goes like this. There's
Okay.
events in between, and that's noise. You lose a loved one, you have a breakup, you get fired from a job, this, that. And when those things happen, the arrow goes back down to victim.
Okay.
And then you need to catch yourself by using either a physical, spiritual, or mental
Yeah.
protocol
Yeah.
to get that arrow going back up and
Yeah.
become the hero of that same story again.
And the more
Okay.
you do it, the stronger your arsenal is.
It becomes innate
Yeah,
almost.
it
You
does.
go, uh-oh, here I am.
It
I just
does.
caught myself
Yeah.
becoming the victim of the story again. What do
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah.
What do
And
I
you're
do?
talking- you can talk yourself.
Yeah, I can
know
either
what?
go
Going
run
upward.
20 wind sprints.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
Feel
bless you for
great.
that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I could listen to some really powerful mindset stuff, or I can go take a walk in the sunshine and sit on a bench and ask for, ask the universe for strength
Yeah.
to get through this rough time. Or the alternative is to go to the medicine cabinet and
Okay.
take a
But then
pill.
you remember the process to get away from those pills.
Oh, yeah.
So
was
that
very
should
ugly.
deter you. Like,
No.
I don't want to. I don't
There's
Well, you know
no-
what? But you know what though? What I'm hearing Steve say is, previously he was, because I talk about the past, present, and the future present existence or living, and what he was doing when he was I'm the poor guy. I lost this. I lost that.
The victim.
Yeah, the victim. And when you reach back into that, the same way you felt, the same emotions, the same chemicals that your body, that your limbic brain was secreting into your body, and you were feeling certain things, those same feelings come back and your body says, wow, it's 2009 again. Let's make our body feel like it did then, because that's what our limbic brain is telling us, as opposed to a different narrative that say, hi, I'm Steve that was the victor and overcame the thing from 2009. That's a whole different set of chemicals that your limbic brain begins to create, and a different energy you're going to give off. And then people are going to say, oh, wow, I need to know how he did that. Which is, I understand what you're saying about a person sharing where they came from, or even where they are. Because sometimes people think, I'm the only one.
Often.
And
You
you're
often
not the
feel that
only
way.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us, all of the things that we face,
Nothing is unique to
somebody
you.
has faced
Yeah.
what you face.
Yeah.
One of my great frustrations is when people say to me, oh, I'm on your Facebook group every day. I'll bump into somebody in a restaurant or get a message and they'll go, it's wonderful, it's unbelievable, but I'm very private. I'm never going to say anything because I'm private. And I always ask, what's the benefit of being private? I don't know what that means. Like, what if somebody on the other side of the world, you see somebody post something about a struggle and you go, wow, I've got a great solution for them, but I'm private.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say
Yeah.
anything because,
Yeah.
I'm private. Wow, that could cost somebody.
You're being selfish.
You are being selfish
Yeah.
at that point. And I believed in power and community. I heard the phrase and I watched it. And what's really interesting is even if I'm not on, people are connecting with each other now.
Yeah. It kind of runs itself
And
almost.
they've made friends, and it does run itself.
Yeah.
And the power of the interaction. And that's what Facebook likes to see also.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah.
You know,
The algorithms like that.
They
Yeah.
do. You can create a group, but to get interaction in a group where people are, like chatting, helping, becoming friends.
Yeah.
It's really, it's interesting. And sometimes I lay in bed, I go, how did I do this?
Yeah.
How did I do this?
I wanted
That was your calling. That was your destiny.
I think so.
I wanted to touch upon the family because a lot of people who are suffering within themselves don't realize the effects of the family.
Oh, boy.
You think that, I'm holding it together, I'm doing good, I'm providing for my family, I'm at the games, I'm not missing any events. But thinking back, the medicated Steve as well as the Victor Steve, like how was that affecting your family? What's the difference?
It affected our family greatly. It did emotionally.
Marriage can be
Yeah.
destroyed with
well,
that.
Jill is a rock. She just is.
She's like, yeah, that's what I do.
She lost her mom when she was 21 years old,
Mm.
and I never got to meet her mom, but I know her.
Yeah.
I know that she visits through the like of
Yeah.
birds that show up in our backyard
Yeah.
and deliver messages to us
I
that are
believe that too.
unbelievable. But when I was really going through the darkest, roughest times, she would just kick me and go, "Let's go, get up, let's go. I already
Yeah.
set up. Get in the shower, get the day started.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it. We can make it through anything." She would just pound and go, "I could make it through anything."
Wonderful.
And our daughter is like a little spitfire, right? She was away at college, so she
That's
wasn't.
surprising.
Yeah, she's a real spitfire. And I
Yeah.
remember one of the things that I had to do for like dexterity purpose and mind purpose was I had to read and then send Ari a book report.
Wow.
So I did some reading one day, and it was a Sunday, and I was sitting at our kitchen counter with our daughter, and I said, can you give me a hand here? I just read this chapter, and I got to submit this book report, so I'm just going to dictate, and you type it. She looks at me, she goes, "He didn't tell me to type it. He told you to type it. I'm not doing your work. Do your work." You know? And my boys, our older boy really, he stepped up. Like sometimes I felt like I robbed him of some of his teen years. He matured very, very quickly, and my younger guy was my go-to guy. I think the fact that they saw that Dad isn't Superman, and that I never stopped fighting.
Yeah.
Even our youngest son, Brett, most recently when I said something to him about frustration, and he goes, "Dad, you tell me all the time, Warners are winners, man. We don't quit.
Yeah.
Let's go." And
Yeah.
I need that from my
Yeah.
kids.
Your kids are watching even
Yeah.
when you don't know.
They are.
They're paying attention. They're learning from what you're not seeing.
But it's good that they did see that you're not Superman, because my son saw me as my dad can do anything, There's nothing my dad can't do. When I was in real estate, I had a 3-unit building, and he had an apartment there. I gave him I bought a new truck, so I gave him the truck I had. And I soon realized that was a mistake. And I stopped supporting him. And his girlfriend, he was telling his girlfriend, that's so wrong. Dad is so wrong. He's just cut me off. He just cut me off because he didn't want to pay rent. So his girlfriend told him, she said, your dad is trying to make you showing you how to be a man. And so as the years went by, he saw that and appreciated it. But as he began to hear my story, how I was homeless, how I lived in a car on the lakefront, how I was selling drugs and doing drugs, and how my life was changed when I found God, how my life turned around. I was no longer a drug dealer. I was no longer wanting to be a hitman. I was no longer wanting to see how many women I could have, and he never saw that because at one point in his life, I was a single parent. It was just me, him, and my daughter. And when he began to hear these stories about me and he saw how my life shifted, then he saw the humanity and understood it's okay not to have it all together, but as long as you keep pushing to get it together. And that's what he's done with his life.
Wow.
That's what he's done. That's exactly what he did because he was a mess. He was a good kid, very very conservative. I mean, he came up in the hip hop era. He never listened to hip hop. Never wore his pants down around his butt. He took me to the car shop one day. We're in the car listening to talk radio. I said, what are you listening to? Talk radio, Dad. I said, talk radio. He was 19.
Wow.
He said, yeah, talk radio. I love talk radio. And that's what he listened to. And now he's a muckety-muck at Homeland Security here. And he used to be the safety officer, over safety at O'Hare Airport. He transferred over to Homeland. But my point is, he saw me as impenetrable. Dad doesn't ever have a problem. My dad is this. My dad is that. My dad has perfect credit. My dad is this. But then he started hearing, and I allowed him to see, look, no, I had to work and push into that, which is what he had to do. And now he's got his own home, got beautiful granddaughters. And so I would venture to say, in your case, my case, our sons benefited from seeing our vulnerability and seeing us overcome it, telling them that there's nothing they can't overcome.
Yeah. Our kids, I think moms have this problem where we want our kids to see us as perfect and we handle everything well. But what I found, I didn't really have a choice with Matthew, is that I had to tell him, like, listen, I have a migraine today. We can't go out, but if you'll do this, when I get better, we'll do that. Like, he saw me being sick. He saw 3 out of the 4 in the house. We were hospitalized at the same time. He was the only one healthy. And I had to arrange for him to get back to school, to swim practice. And I said, we're fine. You got this. You go to school. Your requirement is that you go to school. Your requirement is that you go and take out your frustration in the pool. So he saw that. And I hear so many people, and because I deal with more moms and dads, I hear more moms saying, yeah, I go home, I got to cook for the 20-year-old. Like, what? What? I do my 25-year-old's laundry. We're not teaching them to be out in the world, to be able to take care of themselves. Yeah. And by being transparent parents, they see this, that we're not perfect, that we're not Superman, Superwoman, that we have set up some tools, like you did with the getting off of the medication. You set up a toolbox of things to help you get through, because life is going to throw you something. It's going to do it.
Yep.
But learning from your kids learn from your struggle. He learned from you supporting him, your husband. They see that, and now that you have a newlywed in the house.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
They're going to be able.
Really
he's going to be able to take that strength he learned from the parenting that you gave him, and be able to parent himself and be able to keep a marriage together, because it's not always easy. And you guys are 30 years in, and that could have broken your marriage.
I think it's powerful, and what's really interesting to me is I still see that grain of that little pill that Jill was giving you.
Well,
Grain
it
of
was a
salt.
piece of salt. I'm like, where is it? This can't be it. Like,
Now,
are you kidding me?
Now, the lesson I see in that is it took, as much as she loves you and she likes you, the courage and the love it took for her to give you that, knowing this isn't going to be enough. He's been taking something this big and I'm giving him this. That took something for Jill to be able to give you that. Knowing it's good for you, this is all you get. Instead of, well, okay, babe, here's another half. We just won't tell him. You don't talk, I won't talk.
And she stayed in the trenches.
She stayed in there.
And that's what marriage, what I think, do you remember what I told you? I said, I need someone who is going to stay.
Yeah.
We can fight, but as long as we're fighting together.
In the trenches.
Together in the trenches.
Yeah.
That's what I need to know before I get married again. And
Yeah.
you guys are an example of that.
We are, and to her credit, like she's got this swag on the tennis court, you know, like when she pastes one down the line and somebody looks and goes, "What? That little woman
Yeah.
that hard, that quickly past me?" When she handed me that piece, she just goes, "Yeah, that's all you get. See ya."
Yeah.
Bye. Marched up the stairs. I still
that.
remember her, like just going.
She's like,
I go,
"Bye."
"That's it." She goes, "Yeah, that's it. See ya. Bye. Have a good
Yeah.
night." Yep. And Ari must have said to her, "Buckle up. It's."
Yeah.
It's going to be rough for a while, and it was, and it's.
I mean,
it's-
10 months is a long time when you're going through something.
and the waves that were there, like I felt good for an hour or two or a day, and then
out of nowhere.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What the bizarre thing was, he was documenting everything that I was doing. I was communicating on Google Docs, and I would
Okay.
tell him what I ate, what I drank, when I slept, when I went to the bathroom, literally. And it got to the point where he could read it like a market profile.
Okay.
And I would be 9:00 in the morning. He would call me and go, "How do you feel?" I go, "Feel good." He goes, "Be careful around noon."
Wow.
And I'd be like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I got a hunch that around
You're looking
noon."
like, oh, it's 10:30.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's 11.
And then all of a sudden at 11, a massive headache
Wow.
and dizziness and nausea. And I would text him, I'm melting down, and the text would come back, "Shut your office door, 100 push-ups right now.
Yeah.
Text me when you're done."
Yeah.
Or take a walk. It's beautiful outside. Take a walk and find a log, sit down
Yeah.
and pray. And, when I had some friends that were like really worried about me, two or three
Sure.
that were like so loyal. It was crazy. And it's hard to share when you get spiritual, when people don't understand what it means to, like, you're going to go out, sit on a log and pray.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
you need a pill.
Yeah.
No, I don't need a pill.
Yeah.
That's what got me in this trouble to
Yeah.
begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
You need medicine. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
My medicine is to get down and ask for
Ari
strength.
said,
Yeah, and
it makes a
works.
difference. It
Yeah.
makes a difference.
You know
And
what?
To the
Yep.
point of the kids, yeah, they got like really strong, and I believe that they're really proud of me right now with
Yeah.
the Hour of Champions thing, and we don't know where it's going because we haven't seen the script for the rest of our life yet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's
Well, obviously
it's
somebody
evolving.
else is driving it.
We're always the passenger. That
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
and I
awesome,
get
man.
like a woman that I had met through another woman. We had breakfast, and I was explaining to her all these little things that were happening. She said, "Oh, I call them God winks."
Oh,
God
that's
winks.
God winks.
God
Okay.
winks.
That's
yeah, Every now
cool.
and
That's
whenever you need a
interesting.
God winks.
I
at
like
you.
that.
And I said, "Oh my God, that makes such
That's
sense."
perfect. Yeah.
And now I say to myself, that was a God wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
That's,
that.
I,
Yeah, God
we're
wink.
going to use that.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a good
And
book.
one of the things that I
It
know
does.
you'll appreciate this. I started listening to this young woman, Gabrielle Bernstein is her name. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I am.
She wrote a book called The Universe Has Your Back. And it's like sometimes you go in the bookstore and you see accounting for dummies or marketing
Yeah.
for dummies. For me, this was like Universe for Dummies.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I don't want to sound, like I'm beating myself up, but I had a problem connecting to that whole spiritual thing. And I bought her Audible, and I would just go down to my kitchen at 4 a.m. and put it on and listen to it. And she kept saying, you have to learn how to pray unselfishly. Don't ask for things. Thank the universe, God, your higher power, however you want to refer it, for the miracles that are in your life and for the ones that are on their way.
Yes. Yes.
And
The
that
expectation.
concept to me was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, the
of-
expectation.
Of course they're
Yeah.
on their way. You need them. They're
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You just don't know when the
Right.
arrival date is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I started thinking and learning how to manifest, and learning to accept some of the miserable things that were going on, just as a gift, as a learning gift. All of a sudden, the beautiful things started coming.
Yeah. And you appreciate them so much better.
Yeah, the gratitude list. People were like making gratitude lists. I'm not going to make a and it was the only thing I wasn't doing. So I started laying in bed before I got up in the morning and just like putting my hands together and saying to myself everything that I was grateful for.
Yeah.
And now,
if you really think about it, that list can be long daily throughout the day.
It can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Or learning how to, when you get like overwhelmed or get in that state of fear. A great coach of mine always said to me, always alerted me to the fact that fear was tying an emotion to an outcome that hadn't happened yet. Right?
Perfect.
Because think about think about logically how crazy that is.
Yeah. When you say it, it's like,
or do you think that like, you're worried about, this report that you're going to turn in at work, that it might not be completely accurate? Do you think that if you worry, it's going to change the outcome?
Nope.
It's not. So maybe we can learn how to convert that energy, that worry energy, into positive energy, and use it, somewhere else. And these are all the things that, in the second half of my journey here, I'm a golfer, so I always say I'm on the back nine.
Okay.
I'm so blessed to have learned and embraced spirituality and understanding that intersect with Ari on the street downtown.
Wow.
That didn't happen by accident.
No.
That was pre-planned.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Just when I needed it. It was a God wink.
Because it had been too early, he may not have sensed that you were on some medication.
Had he left his office 5 minutes earlier, he
Yeah.
would have gotten to that intersection before I did.
Yeah.
And we
You
would
would've
have.
missed
It's like
them.
that movie Sliding Door. I don't know if you ever saw it with Gwyneth Paltrow, but no coincidences.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
I believe
a
that.
lot of times we, like Gabrielle Bernstein, the author you're talking about,
Yeah.
that's her story. That she was 21 years old. She started a business in New York. She thought she had everything she wanted. She could buy these shoes. She could buy this car. She could have this. She could have that. But it was still something missing. And there was something in her asking for, I need something else. There's something else I need. And so she literally asked. She said, God, universe, whoever you might be out there, what is it that I'm missing? What is it I need to do? And she said, a voice came back to her and said, girl, get your life together and you will have the most amazing life you've ever had.
Yep.
And she began studying miracles.
Yep.
And what's interesting is I just started listening to her yesterday.
Wow.
Just yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd never heard of her before.
Yeah, people unfortunately tie their happiness to material things.
Material things, which is
but you got the big
evaporating.
old house, you got the attractive spouse, you got good kids. I mean, what's the problem? Like,
Yeah.
it's more than that. It's deeper than that.
It is.
It
It's a. This is the great irony that most people don't understand, that the whole mental thing is not a conflict of the brain. It's a conflict of the heart.
Yeah.
It's when your heart is empty and your brain and your heart are not synchronized.
Yeah.
So, I coach folks, and I'm working with a fellow right now, and he was thoroughly convinced he had a mind problem. I said, you have a heart problem. And he said, what? I've never heard of this before. How does it work?
Yeah.
And we started talking about all the things that he started telling me all the things that were missing from his life. And I said, wow, you're like on empty.
Yeah.
We have to start doing things to get that filled up, like one quart at a time, so it can reconnect. And he looked at me and he said, wow, this is so brand new to me, because nothing else made sense.
And no one else had ever said that to him.
No one else did ever say that to him, but you have to experience it to understand it.
You really do. You really do. I think it's, man, our time
You're out
is-
of time. That's what you think.
Oh, gee whiz. Well, listen, this has been an amazing show. Thank you
you.
so much, Steve.
Thank
Both
you.
of you for
Thank
coming.
you. Oh
Yeah.
my God, this
Sharing
is,
that story.
thank you. Thank you so much for letting me share the story. It's it fills up my heart. It keeps me
Oh, man.
connected.
Hour of
It's just
Champions
nice.
on Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
joining today.
I hope so.
I hope
Anybody
that
can
everyone
join.
listening will join as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Jill, thank you so much.
Thanks for
joining
being
us.
that rock.
She is the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
30
until
years.
next time, I'm James H. Carpenter Barnes, and I'm here with,
Wendy B.
and we'll see you next time on JW Fusion.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thanks for listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.